You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. And 156 episodes, spanning 5 seasons from the year 1959 to 1964. It is a journey through a wondrous land created by one Mr. Rod Serling, who redefined the boundaries of science fiction and horror. Your next stop, my top 10 episodes of The Twilight Zone. Submitted for your approval in no particular order, we begin with Walking Distance. The season 1 episode was written by Serling. The tale revolves around a big city advertising exec who walks back in time to his hometown to encounter the 12-year-old version of himself. And he freaks the hell out of the kid while warning his younger self to enjoy childhood, and actually causes the boy to sustain a leg injury. The younger version of the man's father comes to believe this is his son from the future and tells him to look forward in life and not to the past. The ad man returns to the present, but now with a limp he caused himself in the past. Walking Distance was one of Serling's favorites and most personal stories, and actually inspired by his own upbringing in Binghamton, New York. The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street is another season 1 classic written by Serling, but instead of a nostalgic reflection on the past, this focuses on how easily humans can be manipulated by fear. When the power goes out on the eponymous Maple Street,
Steve, the power's off.
The residents turn their thoughts from late summer barbecues to the suspicion of an extraterrestrial in their midst.
Them? Who are them?
Whoever was in that thing that came by overhead.
Lights flicker on and off and cars start on their own, turning neighbor against neighbor, who point fingers in a witch hunt to find the suspected alien. But there are aliens, and they are fiddling with the electricity and causing mass hysteria, which teaches them the best way to conquer Earth is by simply causing the humans to turn on one another. Serling's warning at the end of the episode remains timeless.
For the record, prejudices can kill, and suspicion can destroy. And a thoughtless, frightened search for a scapegoat has a fallout all of its own. For the children, and the children yet unborn. And the pity of it is that these things cannot be confined to the Twilight Zone.
Fun fact, the alien costumes, their crafts stairway, and the stock saucer footage at the end were all reused from the 1959 film Forbidden Planet. The big lesson in season 1's Time Enough at Last is to always have a backup pair of spectacles or opt for LASIK. Henry Bemis, played by Burgess Meredith, just wants to read books all day, but his bank manager and his wife seem opposed to his intellectual activities.
And don't sneak off into the living room to bury yourself in newsprint. I think we've been over this quite enough, Henry.
After an H-bomb detonates while he's safely reading in a bank vault, Mr. Bemis learns he has enough food and all the time in the world to read, until he drops and breaks his glasses. Written by Serling, the story here is partially to be careful what you wish for, but is also a commentary on anti-intellectualism. A 3-time visitor to the Twilight Zone in its original run, Meredith also provided narration for 1983's The Twilight Zone, the movie. The season 2 episode, Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up?, is one of the greats because the Serling scripted story played on paranoia and dark comedic elements. State troopers enter a local diner to investigate a crashed flying saucer and begin interrogating bus passengers who are just awaiting the all clear to go over a dangerous bridge.
Whose bus is this out here?
The troopers, passengers, bus driver, and diner owner all start pointing fingers trying to surmise if an alien is in the midst. Later, the troopers and the bus passengers head out to cross the bridge. One of the passengers returns to the diner and reveals everyone except him died on the bridge.
It was a terrible scene. No one got out. Except you.
As he smokes a cigarette, revealing 3 arms, he says he is actually a Martian scout sent to begin colonization on Earth. Too bad, so sad, says the diner owner, because the Venusians have already colonized Earth. And he whips off his cap to show off a third eye. The episode had character actor Jack Elam playing a crazy old coot who name drops Ray Bradbury, an actual Zone contributor. Frequent Zone writer Richard Matheson was behind the Season 2 classic The Invaders, about an older woman played by Bewitched's Agnes Moorehead, living alone in a rustic farmhouse without electricity. Her simple life gets more complicated when a saucer lands on her roof and two 6-inch robotic-looking figures begin to attack her. The woman eventually beats her tiny invaders, who are revealed to be astronauts from Earth in the U.S. Air Force space probe. Just before she trashes their ship, they send a transmission warning others to keep away from the planet inhabited by giants. That is what you get, though, for attacking Endora in her own home. As good as the twist is in The Invaders, Season 2's The Eye of the Beholder, written by Serling, is considered one of 2 most remembered Zone episodes because of the ending. In a society where those deemed ugly are banished to a colony with others, the pitiful twisted lump of flesh, known as Janet Tyler, has undergone 11 treatments to conform with acceptable looks. Her face is bandaged for most of the episode, with the good Dr. Bernardi and his nurses obscured by shadows. So when Janet is unwrapped and told the operation was a failure, it's a big shockaroo when she's revealed to be traditionally attractive. And everyone else is sporting piggy faces. And damn it, Janet, she was indeed banished to live with a hot hunk of a male model, while all of the, quote, pretty people of this world are forced by the authoritarian state to live a life of conformity. The message of beauty being in the eye of the beholder is obvious in this. Plus, there is the more subtle commentary about conformity leading to unified ugliness. Season 3's To Serve Man is the other big twist ending that even non-zonies know. When the big-headed 9-foot-tall Canaanite aliens land on Earth, they promise to whip the planet into shape and make life pretty cozy for humans. But the forgetful buggers leave behind a book, and a cryptographer decodes the title, To Serve Man. With humanity won over by the Canaanites, who made good on their promise, people begin boarding ships to head to their home world with them. A little too late, the rest of the book is translated, and the twist is, say it with me now, it's a cookbook! And not the kind of cookbook covered with space dust that Lisa Simpson found. The episode based on Damon Knight's story is one of the few in Zone that breaks the fourth wall.
How about you? You still on Earth or on the ship with me?
Even if you want to trust the Canaanites. The Season 3 episode, It's a Good Life, warns, do not trust creepy kids with godlike powers. Adapted from a story by Jerome Bixby, this one stars Zone player Billy Mooney as 6-year-old Anthony Fremont, who has a face of an angel, the powers of a god, and the behavior of a monster. He wished away all of existence with his mind, except for his small town of Peaksville, Ohio. Those who remain have to think happy thoughts, call Anthony good all the time.
What are you doing, Anthony? Why, that's real good, whatever it is.
And never, ever sing lest he wish them into a cornfield or turn them into a human jack-in-the-box. But hey, at least he treats them to his mind-projected TV of dinosaur battles. It's a real good episode, Anthony. And fans of the Disney Tower of Terror attraction might recognize Serling's intro for the ep as the same repurposed for that ride's pre-show. At last, William Shatner makes his entrance on this list with Nightmare at 20,000 Feet from Season 5, written by Richard Matheson and directed by a young Richard Donner. After being in a sanitarium for 6 months following a nervous breakdown on a plane, everyone already thinks the future Captain Kirk is a little cray. So when only he sees the giant walking carpet monster gremlin tearing up the engine of his commercial jet airliner mid-flight, well, it doesn't really earn him a vote of sanity amongst his wife and passengers. Shatner's character gets a hold of a gun on board, hey, it was the 60s, opens the emergency exit door, fires at the gremlin on the wing, thus saving the entire flight. Too bad no one believes him, and he is hauled off in a straitjacket once the plane lands, while evidence of the gremlin's damage is seen on the wing behind him. John Lithgow stepped into Shatner's role for a remake of the story in The Twilight Zone, the movie. This came full circle when Shatner eventually appeared alongside Lithgow on Third Rock from the Sun.
I looked out the window and I saw something on the wing of the plane. The same thing happened to me.
And that brings us to the end of my top 10 episodes of The Twilight Zone. But wait, there's a twist. In classic Zone fashion, I am giving you a quick rundown of 3 more. Season 1, The Hitchhiker, written by Serling and adapted from a radio play by Lucille Fletcher. It's about a woman whose cross-country road trip begins with a flat tire and car accident. She gets back on the road, but keeps encountering a creepy hitcher along the highway. She thinks he's trying to kill her until she calls home to find out she actually died in that accident.
Nan was killed just 6 days ago in an automobile accident in Pennsylvania.
And that hitchhiker? He is instead revealed to be the Grim Reaper. Season 2, Long Distance Call by Charles Beaumont. Billy Mooney is another cute little kid, this time with a toy telephone that rings up his dead grandmother on the other side.
Hello.
Grandma is so obsessed with little Billy that she convinces him to run into traffic to kill himself so he can be with her forever. Season 5, Living Doll, written by Jerry Saul. Her name is Talkie Tina, and you better be nice to her, because in this episode, she is the toy from hell.
My name is Talkie Tina, and you'll be sorry.
To be fair, Telly Savalas plays an abusive husband and stepdad who comes by the wrath of this proto-Chucky honestly. So when Tina trips him up and sends him to his death, it is well earned. Still, it's a good idea to stay on Tina's good side. So those are my favorites. Tell us yours in the comments below. Also, if you've ever gotten sucked into this show, tell us. We are listening in the Twilight Zone.